What's going on, guys? DrumQuig podcast here with episode 26. I know we are just cranking along and we are getting super exciting people each and every week. This week, we've got a super special guest, somebody I've been watching for quite some time. We're just going to call him Danny, but this is DannyDrumstixx. So how you doing, man?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolutely. So let's talk about the Metallica shirt right away because we can't we can't ignore that, or the Neil picture behind you. We've got a lot to unpack here. So let's just kind of start with I know it's been a long 3 months for you. Kind of a recovery, and then I don't know if that was today, but back in the gym. So like, talk about what that downtime has been and like what happened, like what you know.
Yeah, man. So mid-February, I ended up breaking my ankle, and I did that by slipping on ice out of
Hmm.
everything, right? I wish I had a better story, but I was heading into work. I was going to get in my car to leave, and this was like 6 in the morning, so it's like pitch black outside still. And I'm looking on the driveway. It's like, oh, everything's dry. And then I go into the front, around the front to go to the driver's side, a little patch of ice slipped, collapsed right on my ankle, and I heard it crack. Yep.
Mm.
Immediate pain. I'm sitting there. I'm taking my boot off real quick because I know it's gonna blow up like a balloon. And I actually had to hop up the driveway to get back into the house.
Man,
Thankfully, my dad was still home because he was about to go to work. So he took care of me. But yeah, that's what happened, man. Out of everything, I wish I could say, yeah, man, I was skateboarding and jumped a 60 stair, but But yeah, so we took X-rays and the doc was like, "Yeah, you broke it." I'm like, "All right, cool." So
thanks.
I went to see my foot doctor, and he took a look at it as well. We took some X-rays over there, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to do surgery immediately." So we got the
Jeez.
surgery done, and yeah, it was pretty brutal. Like, I didn't think it was gonna be that bad, but like it was bad to the point where my foot was actually angled to the left a little bit. Yeah, sorry for the the cringe,
Mhm.
but a fun fact, this is my first breakage ever. Like, first serious injury, and I am 32 years old. So out of these 32,
Ooh,
so yeah, but hey, man, I've been in good spirits. We had a successful surgery, and then
fantastic.
you know, all there is to do now at the time was just recover, heal up as much as possible, and do a lot of physical therapy. And I've been watching a lot of shows, listening to a lot of music, eating junk food, just living the life,
You're like,
really.
oh, this is so terrible.
Right, yeah, yeah. So it gave me time to reflect on life as well, because like you don't appreciate your ankle, right?
Yeah.
Unless something happens to it, because it requires everything, walking, taking a shower, using the restroom, doing everything, so trying to do that with crutches, with a cast and
Mm.
all that stuff. So something I had to learn, but I'm very grateful
Yeah.
for everything. But it's been good, man. The past 3 months, I actually went to physical therapy today. I was on the bike, if you saw my story,
Yeah.
and I am clear to be in my tennis shoes now.
All
So
right.
it's great news. I still gotta build strength up in the foot though, but we're getting there, man. We're getting there.
Listen, man, I'm just glad to see it because I mean, thankful that you had a ton of content. And like, we'll talk about that here in a second. You have so much content that you're like, you didn't even get to drum for 3 months and you're just pumping out stuff. And I was like, wow, he recovered. Wait.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So I have so much content to throw out because I released them beforehand, but now I redid that during this injury. I was like, wow, okay, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah.
So let me just re-release these, and they have done amazing. So I guess from there on out, I was like, all right, we'll just keep posting these videos, and but a lot of comments saying, "Oh my God, you're better." I'm like, no, 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 this is an old video. Like, so trying to tell everybody that and everything was just, I eventually made my update post, which you probably saw of me walking in the boot. So, but I doubt everyone saw that one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny comments, but a lot of great support, honestly, from everybody wishing me well, and like It's awesome. It's a great feeling. I'm forever grateful.
Yeah, and it's a great community. People kind of undervalue the music community, especially drummers, because drummers are a different breed. We're a different breed of people. We're the ones who get the least flattering pictures usually from the concert photographer. It's like the super
Exactly.
close-ups of everybody, and then the drummer's like, "Huh?" in the
Right.
background. And I say that cringing because I'm also a photographer, so I know what it's like to be like, make sure to get the drummer, like make sure to get the
Right. Get the most like the biggest stink face you can get,
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get the worst and then be like, no, 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 I got a good one, but this is the one I'm going to post because, that's what's going
Right.
to get the traction. So, going through all those videos, predominantly a lot of Rush videos. And I think that's probably one of the coolest things ever because, you know, I don't think I've seen somebody a bigger Rush fan on the show other than Dad and Chris in like episode one or Jeff that's in Solar Federation, the Rush cover band. Like, I don't think I've seen anybody who loves them as much as you. So kind of walk me through like when it came to you that they were such a big part of your life and why it's so important to you to continue to do that and show the people the music that you love.
Yeah, man. We got time.
And this is the part I just
Right. So I'm 32 years old. I started listening to Rush. I heard them on the radio when I was a little kid and wasn't sure if the first song I heard was Subdivisions or Tom Sawyer, but all I remember is Subdivisions and hearing that synthesizer part
mhm.
really drawn me in. I'm also a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan from the Genesis era.
All right.
So listening to the synthesizer from Subdivisions really reminded me of Sonic the Hedgehog. I was like, wow, this sounds really cool. Like, so we dig deeper, I heard Tom Sawyer, same thing with the synthesizers. It's like, wow, I really got to dig into this band, but I didn't dig into the band. I didn't go into their discography until about my sophomore year of high school. My first show being the Snake and Arrows tour. That's when I was
Ooh.
14. So you remember MySpace, right? Yeah, yeah,
I'm in
where that
MySpace.
Yep, yep. So, on Rush's page, they had a media player of all of their albums. You could choose whatever album to listen to. All these amazing albums, I was just kind of gazing through them. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I didn't know these existed. So I'm like a little kid at a candy store. I'm just going through all of the Rush catalog basically, and ended up just buying the whole discography on CD. So
Tangible medium. Let's go.
yeah, man. Yeah. It's always great to hear something new from a band that you've been listening to for a while. Even though like it's new to you, obviously it's been out for years,
Yeah.
but you're just discovering all these deep cut records and songs and again, kid at a candy store, I was listening to all of the Rush stuff left and right and yeah, that's how I got drawn to Rush, literally.
And I love that because I'm like, I think back and it's like, I know the first album I ever bought was Metallica's Black Album, which is funny given the Metallica shirt.
Right?
I remember I bought Offspring Smash, another interesting choice. But I also remember being in California when I was 14 on like a family trip, and I found Hold Your Fire for $5. And I bought
Nice.
it not knowing, and again, at that age, not really knowing any of that. And I know exactly what you're talking about when you're listening to those albums and you're going, I didn't even know this existed. Like, this is fantastic, you know.
Right?
And then, fast forward to, and we'll talk about this too, Rush performing just a couple months ago, and they played a song I didn't know. And I was like, because it was the first song off the first album. And, we talked about it before, like it was the first album with a different drummer. And then they go
Right?
and play the live version with a different drummer. So, I know what it's like to experience that and find, love a band
Yeah.
and then find those deep cuts. And you're like, man, in this day and age, it's so easy to find music.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. Like we're very lucky
yeah.
today.
Absolutely. Not even close to being like, can you imagine trying to find like Rush albums like 40, 50 years ago? And I say 50 years
Right?
ago, it's 50 years ago. Like that is insane to me.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So you find Rush, you fall in love with Rush. Did that coincide with your love for drums, or had that already started?
That's a really good question. So I had this play school plastic snare drum, right? And at the time it was huge to me. It's probably small right now, but I don't think I have it anymore. But my dad had a pair of drumsticks laying around somewhere, and I was either 4, 5, or 6 years old. And I remember this beating that play school snare drum with the drumsticks. And I believe this is before I knew who Rush was.
Jeez.
So I'm just wailing away, and what my dad would do, he would get done with his coffee cans, like the Folger cans, and he would give me one to
Yeah,
add
yeah.
like as a like a rack tom. And so I would have like Folger coffee cans as rack toms, and I would use like paper plates as cymbals. Yeah, so I think
Sounds like
that's how
every
it all
drummer's first
started.
drum set.
Yeah, man, it was a good time, really good time. So yeah, that's probably how I got into drumming.
You never really thought about it, did you? Like, until that moment, you're like, "Wait, that is it."
Right, yeah, I think firstly, I gotta give my sister some credit because we would sit in the back seat of my mom's car while she's shopping, whatever, and we would listen to the radio, and my sister's she's pounding away on her leg, so I copied, did the same thing, and I think that's how it all started.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I gotta give her credit on that one.
So, we get into that and, like, kinda walk through, like, other than Pert, like, who were the inspirations that you had, growing up and, to this day, like, who's inspiring you on a daily basis? Like you said, we have this availability of music no one has ever had. So, like, what has that done for you and, kind of finding the inspiration, that drives you to play?
So, besides Neil, obviously,
Yeah.
Lars Ulrich of Metallica, and people are gonna go like, "Oh my god," you know what? I don't care because you know why? So, my favorite record is "Injustice for All," and
Fantastic record.
I believe Lars's drumming from Master of Puppets, in between Master of Puppets and Justice for All,
Yeah.
in my opinion, peak Lars Ulrich. Love you, Lars, if you're watching this.
Yeah. Dude, if Lars is watching this, I'll probably lose my mind, but you talk about, like, Master of Puppets to Injustice, that was a 2-year span, like, 86 to
Yeah.
88,
Yep.
and for hit the drumming just everything just got cleaner. I know listen, I'm a Lars hater on one aspect of it, and it's not his fault, and we all know what it is, so I don't even have to say it, but please continue, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I know it too. I poke fun at him as well, but I love the guy. But yeah, it's his speed because I was huge into speed drumming,
But yeah.
and when he would play like faster song or the faster songs on the record, but play it faster live, that was just pure energy. It got me just excited, like, "Wow, this is so cool!" Like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. Yeah, Lars is a huge inspiration next to Neil. I'd say literally same level, honestly.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, and
Again, people are gonna
I def
people are gonna
I def disagree with that just because, like, Metallica and Rush had huge influences on me too, especially Lars, because you hear what Lars was able to do. And, there's no greatest drummer. I know we'll always have that debate, and Neil's one of the greatest drummers ever. But to everyone else, there's going to be somebody who meant more, who did more, impacted them more, influenced them more. But Lars, man, like you said, I've been lucky enough to see him twice, just recently this last June, and I'm like,
nice.
Lars still got it. Like it's still crazy to
Yeah,
experience
I
that.
mean, I saw him during the Death Magnetic tour,
Okay.
and, I 9, yeah. Saw him here in DC,
Okay.
and, we had the nosebleed seats, but I tell you what, they put on a great light show.
Oh my God.
Being all the way up in the ceiling, you can't really hear that much. They did a phenomenal job. Yeah, you just couldn't really hear James that much, so all he heard was his reverb in the voice, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, but great show, great light show. They're still doing great. I wish I could have seen Metallica during the Just Damage Justice tour.
My
Oh my god.
gosh. Yeah, we look back and I'm like, Injustice for All is up there on one of my favorites just because it literally came out the year I was born, if that tells you anything.
Right
But
on, right on.
but that was only 5 years into Metallica. Like, Metallica was still a baby in
Mhm.
terms of being on the scene and, like, you've got, Megadeth that spawned from Metallica.
Right,
Anybody can debate that. You've got Anthrax, you've got Slayer, like, you've got the big 4, and it's so funny when you look at, like, today. Unfortunately, we lost Vinny, we lost Dimebag, and you've got Charlie from Anthrax playing with Pantera. And you're like, "Wait, what?"
right.
And
It's and yeah.
and getting to see, like, because Pantera played with Metallica, Suicidal Tendencies, Pantera, and Metallica this last June. It broke the record for attendance at Raymond James Stadium where the Bucks play. I don't care about football, but I was like, "I gotta go to this, like, I gotta." And because I hadn't seen them since 2017, so it had been a little bit. And man, you never know what to expect. And after seeing like the highlights from night one, because they did 2 nights, but they did a Friday, Sunday. I don't know why or how or what was the reasoning for it. But man, to hear Lars still play that well, to hear Kirk play that well, to see Robert playing that well, and knowing that Robert's now been the longest standing bassist in the band, which is
Right,
weird,
right.
like really weird. If you can't tell, I have like high level Metallica like in my head. So it's
No, that's awesome. Dude, I'm a Metallica geek still to this day. But yeah, no, I agree. Everyone still sounds phenomenal. I mean, James's voice,
yeah.
healthy, very.
And James has been through some,
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah. So
for him to just do that, like, I didn't realize we were talking about Metallica so much, and I love this, so
yeah,
I'm
right.
not I'm not complaining. Yeah, everybody sounds amazing, and I love that they still put on a show for the fans. They're not doing this for money. That's not for money. Seeing
Most
them
definitely. Yeah.
getting excited, I mean, they played Whiskey in the Jar the night that I went.
Which you don't ever hear.
No. And I was like, I heard the beginning riff, and I just kinda looked around like, "Is this happening?" Like, is this I'm like, "All right, let's go. Let's go." So, we've got Neil, obviously, huge influence on you. Lars, a huge influence. Like, who are the other bands that you were listening to and kinda pushing you to, be better, be faster? Because that's what you're looking for with those 2 guys.
But yeah, yeah. To them two being like the top, I have to mention Chris Adler of Lamb of God.
Mm,
Definitely huge, huge inspiration at the time. Can't tell you what year I got on Lamb of God, but it was around the previous years. But
those formative years,
yeah, yeah. But just his style. I love the sound of his snare drum live
Mhm.
during the Download Festival era. Played there. Sure, they played there plenty of times. Huge inspiration. He got me into playing vinyl cymbals for a little bit, and yeah, man. Chris Adler, Mike Mangini. He is yeah, no words can explain, all right? You already know.
Dude, I've seen
I got
him 4 times? Yeah, that's another debate, and it's funny that Adler came up again because we just talked about Adler in the last episode and the Modern Drummer Festival DVD he did with Jason Bittner, and the way his floor toms, man, they just sounded like cannons.
right?
I'm like
Yeah.
and that snare had that thing wound so tight. So
Oh,
tight.
yeah, man. I'm a huge tight snare drum player. Yeah, everything about Chris Adler, is just, hands down.
Well, and I've seen the snare that you use. That's a pretty hefty snare you've got there. I feel like we've gotten
Yeah.
away from traditional size snares at this point where that thing looks like another tom sitting in front of you.
It's a 14 by 8 and it's all steel. It's made from Tama
Mhm.
SLP and I cannot complain. I think that's probably my favorite snare drum. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge fan of like the smaller compact snare drums too,
Yeah.
but I think I'm kind of moving away from the wood because I really want Lars Ulrich signature diamond plate snare drum.
My God, the one that looks like the tool the tool case, like, yeah.
Yeah. I definitely want that. And then there's some other Metalworks series from Tama that I want. I'm looking into a 12-inch. I know I take that back. A 10. It's a 10-inch snare drum, a 10-inch snare drum, and a 13-inch,
Oof.
all
Big
steel.
difference. Big difference at that point.
But yeah,
It's funny to think about. Like, I haven't thought about that large snare in probably 15, 20 years, but literally as soon as you said it, like I had the picture in my mind, like, my God, yeah. I remember looking
yeah,
through the magazine being like, one day, maybe one day.
Y- yeah. Because when they did the 30th anniversary of Black Album collection box, they were selling the black diamond plate version of it, and it's like, yeah, I wish I can get that, but oh my god, there was only a limited supply of them. But I mean, they're going for a lot now, so I can wait on that.
Yeah. The drummers are starting to take advantage of the snares. And
Well,
you
yeah,
see it, you saw it a lot with Portnoy this last run where he was like one of the tickets to the show included his snare, like played from the show, and his cymbals played from the show. And I was like, what? And then I looked at the price and I was like, yep, well, nope, that can't happen.
yeah, I can only imagine. I was going to mention too, Portnoy's in there as well. The drummers' influences. We got obviously Neil, Lars, Chris, Mangini, and we got Portnoy. Who else? I want to mention also Hannes Grossman from
Ooh.
Necrophagus and Obscura, and a bunch of other projects he's been in. I just can't recall at the moment. But his drumming specifically influenced a lot of my fast, really fast, like blast beat drumming.
Mhm.
Just loved his style. Oh my god, full of energy. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sure there's other names out there, but it's all I can get right now.
Don't worry, like a week from now, you're going to be like, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy.
Literally, yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's how it works. It's funny we talked about, the guys who influence, and it's funny because we have three of the same right off the bat. Obviously, Portnoy, Pert, and I'm gonna call him Pert. I know, I know,
It's all
I
good. I used to
know
say Pert too.
somebody's
Yeah,
gonna. I'm like, listen, it took a long time for somebody to correct us, and I think one of the funniest times was, I think it was in "I Love You, Man," where he's like, I think it's Pert, and he's like, no, no, I think I know it.
he's like, "Are you sure it's not Pit or something like that?"
No,
That's a great movie.
so I love that movie, and I didn't think that was gonna be a nice segue, but we were in Cleveland, like 2 months ago, and we ran into Tom Lennon at the airport, like
Right
Lieutenant
on.
Dangle himself, and I literally walked by and I was like, "Hey, man, sorry to bother you, like, just wanted to say, thank you for everything you've done. I'll let you go." And I literally shook his hand and I was like, "I still watch 'I Love You, Man' to this day," or I still quote it, and he looked at me and he just went, "You're a whore, Peter."
I love that.
And I
That's
was like,
great.
"But that movie is a huge homage to Rush." Like, people forget like how big of an influence and how big of fans they are of Rush, which is why they're in the movie. Like, it's
Oh yeah. Yeah, great movie. I'm so glad everything in that movie was just awesome.
yeah, everything about it.
And to incorporate into their live shows too. It was the what was it? Was it Time Machine or was it Clockwork Angels tour that they had the guys in?
I want to say Clockwork Angels because I went to that show
I think it was. I think it was.
because that was
Yeah.
2012, and then they did R40 in 2015,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. I'm like figuring out timelines at this point.
Me too. It's just it's literally like doing this right now.
Yeah, it's like,
But
we talked about that in the last show. Like, I got to go to both Rush shows with my dad, the man who introduced me to it. And, it's the inspiration for how this show even came about was, he moved to Kentucky. I'm in Florida. And I was like, we talk about music and drummers all day long. Like, we literally, when I go on lunch, I call him, we talk about it. I was like, why don't we just do it this way? So he's been in a few, and then, with scheduling and everything else, it doesn't always work out. But I got his blessing to continue, and I've talked about that on the show too. But without him, I wouldn't know who Neil was. And then when he gave me Scenes from a Memory by Dream Theater, I was 11, and
right on.
Portnoy's drumming changed my life. Like, just hands down, because you're like, oh my god. I listen to some
right?
of that stuff to this day, and I'm like, I still can't play it. Still can't play it. I'm like, I know what he's doing, and then I watch him do it, and I go, I can't do that. Nope.
That's really awesome because I started digging in deeper into Dream Theater's catalog, starting from not the very first record. I
That's-
grew up with Images and Words, really good record,
Yeah,
and I'm actually starting to learn some Dream Theater stuff too. Like my goal is to learn Metropolis. Yeah, wish me luck on that one.
good luck, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, Under Glass Moon is really good too.
You
Yeah,
like take the time. It's funny when you think about like take the time is not a difficult song, but he made it sound way more complicated than it is.
yeah,
Like,
it's the certain hits and the timing of them.
yeah. Well, and then we could have the debate of, when Portnoy left, I was crushed, absolutely crushed that he left the band.
Huge
Seeing
news.
Mangini play and seeing how calculated he was, and he was a machine. I'll never take that away. But for me, when Portnoy came back, that was the greatest thing that happened to them. And I know a lot of people will argue, I'm like, listen, these guys have been friends, like their kids are friends, like their wives were all in a band,
Mhm.
Mean Street, like literally, like all of this is I'm like, they have to come back. So,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
these pictures, I'm like, I try to do this right. These are from the shows I went to in September in Orlando and Clearwater. And Wolf Elliott, it's his birthday today. So, Wolf, amazing photographer, was super cool. Me and my buddy Glenn, when we went to the Orlando show and interviewed us, and we ended up on the Dream Theater channel. And I was like, oh my,
Nice.
I'm like, okay, I'm freaking out a little bit now.
That's
um,
awesome, man.
And, let's get to kind of the meat and potatoes of it. It's the man that we're here to talk about. And I
Yeah.
felt like that was appropriate. And you mentioned Subdivisions, and I know that's your favorite song. You've
One of
tapped,
many, yes.
yeah. Nobody can ever have one favorite song, even though I know my other half's favorite song is The Trees. My dad's favorite song is La Villa Strangata. Like, I think Subdivision for me is the song because, again, Neil's drumming just amplifies as that song moves on. You're like, okay, okay, okay. It just gets more and more. So, like, if you had to name your top five, I'm putting you on the spot here.
I knew this was gonna happen. I already knew it, dude.
I'm like, you play enough of them. A lot of your channel is guess that Rush song. I don't have like a soundboard, or I would have literally been like, pick like the most obscure stuff I can find.
Right. So, okay, 5? I gotta pick 5?
You can do top three. They don't have to be in any order, so nobody's gonna hold it against you if you put something higher than on their list.
God, alright. So, it's alright, cool. I guess we'll just go from alright, I'm trying to wonder if Subdivision should be in there
Oh,
because again, I listened to all of the records, and I'd say mm, God, alright, okay, Alien Shore is one.
ooh, okay.
You're gonna have a lot of people like, "Wow, that's a deep cut. That's good."
He knows his stuff.
Yeah, Alien Shore would be great, especially for this upcoming tour as well. Golly, we gotta do the Speed of Love from the same record.
Two off the
Really good song.
same.
Yep.
Look at
Let's
that.
see. Oh gosh. Roll the Bones.
Yeah.
Show Don't Tell.
Ooh.
Someone's gonna say who should be Tom Sawyer. Let's see.
I think if you said Tom Sawyer or The Spirit of Radio or Free Will or YYZ, everybody would be like, he's just
Right? It's too expecting, right? Let's make this a good one. Let's
ooh.
see. All right. You know what? Test for Echo.
All right. First of all, two off counterparts. That caught me off. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's funny to mention that Presto is my favorite record. If you were going to ask me my favorite records,
Which is, I know Presto did not do very well, like was not received very well when it came out. So that's
I personally love it. Presto would be number one, Roll the Bones would be number two, and then Counterparts would be my number three. All in the same, like all in order too.
gosh, we talk about Presto 89. I mean, what a time for
Oh
music.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they were escaping from the heavy synthesizers.
Yep.
That's just the heavy synth overall,
Yeah.
and more guitar work in Presto, and it's just, in my opinion, it's just a rock and roll sounding record. You know, the guitars are amazing, the drums, like everything is just nice and clear, if that makes any sense.
I need to go back and give it another listen. I can say it's been a while.
A lot of people will mention that it doesn't have a lot of low end, and I can see that. It's a bit of a thin sound.
Mhm.
Wishing that they would have had the same production as Counterparts, because when you listen to Counterparts, it's just
You can hear
heavy,
everything. Yeah.
heavy production. So I could say the same thing with Roll the Bones being a little thin too. Roll the Bones kind of opened a little bit production wise, but they're all great songs if we're just separating everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, those three records really speak to me because they played a huge role in my high school year.
Yeah. Those formative years of like that's when we find most I say most of the music that really defines us. You know, people don't realize how important that is in those stages where like that music that we grew up with, like I still listen to 90% of what I listened to high school because it just resonated with me. It stuck with me all
Oh
these
yeah.
years. And there's so many of these bands that are still playing all these years
Mm-hmm.
later.
Yeah. You know, listen to the lyrics. You know, the lyrics hit deep too. You know, same as Subdivisions. I was going to mention Subdivisions. You know, there's some really deep lyrics there. You know,
A lot of
would be in
Neil's
a
writing, man. A lot of that. Like,
oh yeah. It's Rush is literally my soundtrack of life. You know, because they have a song for everything that you're going through, what you feel like, and it's just, you know, that's another reason why they're huge to me. They mean a lot to me.
yeah.
So call me a Rush nerd. I'm proud of it, you know?
Yeah. Well, then that opens kind of the debate. Given the chance, are you gonna try and see them with Anika?
Yep. Yep. So I'm seeing two shows actually.
What?
One,
He's like, I already got this.
you already know. You already know. As soon as they spoke word, I'm like on the money. So it's first night in Madison Square Garden,
My God.
and then I'll be first night in Washington D.C. So I am looking forward to it. I'm gonna try not to like look at spoilers. It's so hard to in
Yeah.
these days. Oh my god. But you know, Annika's a great drummer. A lot of people would comment on my videos and you know, they would say, "You should have been the one to drum," and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, well, I'm very flattered.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm very flattered. Thank you. That means the world at the same time. Annika's a phenomenal
Yeah.
drummer.
And
You know,
I'm gonna
I've
get crucified for calling her Anika.
no, no, it's all good. But you know, I've known of her years prior. You know,
Mhm.
she's also a Tama artist. So she has she has chops. She's again phenomenal. She's gonna do a good job. That's all I can really say.
I'm curious because I don't think the song they picked was the best song to showcase what she's capable of.
So they did that in my belief, and I think other Rush fans' beliefs. It was also Neil's first song to play with them live. So it was
Mhm.
like an introduction of like the new
The
person.
new guy. Because it
Yeah,
being the first song off the first album with the different drummer, my take on that was exactly the same, is that management they've come out and said management picked that song. There is a reason that that song was picked. It was ushering in a new age of
right.
Rush. New album, like, just bringing it all
Well, yeah,
together.
and it's probably a song that they might not play on the tour. Maybe they don't want to, you know, spoil what's on the set list.
Yeah,
You know, everyone would expect Tom Sawyer live, right?
yeah,
They're gonna play it live regardless. That's just they have to. But yeah, hearing that live or watching it, you know, was just I was happy. I was smiling throughout the whole thing. Everyone did a great job. And you know, Getty's voice. I don't know if anybody noticed, sounds great.
yeah,
To have them still play in the same tuning of the studio record, you usually have bands that will tune down for something like that.
yeah,
You know, so for him to really just stay on it, you know, it's not gonna sound like he was 18, 19 years old. Obviously, your voice gets deeper when you get older. A lot of people just somehow don't understand that part,
Yeah, that's shocking, right? Shocking.
right?
So to kind of round us out, like of all the songs that you've played and all the, I mean, you look through the videos, you've got hundreds of thousands of people just constantly, watching, critiquing. Like, what's the hardest song you had to play that you were like, when you were done, you were like, this was it. Like this was the song. And it doesn't have to be a Rush song. We can divert, but it might still be a Rush song.
I would say for a Rush song, I want to I don't want to single out any like songs really. I can name a few like La Villa Strangiato.
Very
That is a
difficult song.
workout.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a workout. Um, but all of their earlier stuff in the '70s, the you got to think like these are concept records and everything, and just Neil's drumming at that time, full of energy, just
Yeah.
doing everything, and then you have to sit there and listen like, "Okay, he does that," and then like, "Oh my god," and then you kinda lose yourself. It's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, gotta restart, keep listening," and, so I'd say a lot of the '70s material, it is hard, very.
I love it because even then, like, you don't want to single out one, but it's like you listen to a drummer for, at this point, 30 years, basically. And when you still can't pinpoint exactly what he's doing, that tells you like the level of concentration. And then, it's like watching Lars and you're like, you know what Lars is gonna do. It's a 1 in 4 or 1 in 3. Oh yeah, it's in 4/4. And then Lars just will just do something crazy. And you're like, wait, hold on, time out, time out. With Neil, it was like you feel like a lot of the times, even watching like some of the Drumeo videos now, and you watch these drummers perform their songs, I'm like, they're adding stuff to the song. And it's like they're adding it because in the moment, that's what feels right. And I feel like we shouldn't take anything away from that. And I feel like
Oh, yeah.
Neil was the master of that, you know, playing it exactly as it was, but playing it so perfectly that it,
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, even I get a lot of people, they'll appreciate that I try to get it as close as possible, at least 100%, but, like, in my opinion, no one's ever 100%,
Mhm.
you know? I mean, even Neil's live playing, he's not always 100%,
Yeah,
but he gives it the best he can, especially the signature parts of songs. You're waiting for him to do that fill and he does it.
yeah.
Or sometimes he does it a little differently. It's okay to, improvise a little bit. And so when I'm playing Rush stuff, I want to try to at least get 100%, but maybe 90.
But I love the
Yeah.
dedication to it. And, probably
Oh
one
yeah.
of my favorite, like, obviously everyone loves YYZ. I love YYZ, but my favorite version of YYZ was the live in Canada from the 80s.
Right.
And when you heard YYZ in the album and it did that like brick breaking sound, and you're like, I remember listening to it and going, I don't really like that. And then I heard the live and he's using the cymbal for that same sound, and you're like, yes, this is what I was waiting for. And we can have that debate, but there's not a lot of bands that sound better live than they do on an album, and Rush was always that band. Always
For
that band.
sure. I agree.
Man, well, we could definitely talk for hours upon hours, try to keep the story going, but I think we could save it for another episode, man, because like I loved having you
Yeah,
on.
for
Like
sure.
your videos really like when it comes down to it, like, we talked about fanboying and why that's okay, but dude, I'm a big fan. Like watching this stuff, and I think you're doing this generation some justice because anybody who didn't get to experience Neil live, anybody who didn't get to do that, you're like continuing on that, I say that legacy. They're out playing. Like I'm still amazed that I'm saying those words
Right.
26. And I guarantee they're thinking the same thing, going back 50 years. But what you're doing is
Yeah.
just bringing kind of people to see who maybe don't know who Rush is, who maybe, somehow have lived under a rock their whole life and they haven't heard Rush.
Yeah, funny about that too, it's just I just have the love for drumming. I have the love for playing to my favorite band and my favorite drummer, so I do it for, tribute,
Yeah.
literally, And yeah, I just love playing them. So it's this the songs that you see, they're my picks, but at the same time I've had people comment like, "Oh my God, I've never seen somebody on here play this song." And it's just like, like you feel like, "Wow, okay,
I
wow,
feel
okay, maybe I'm
seen.
doing something good." Yeah, like I guess I'll keep doing this.
But dude, keep it up, keep doing it. And I always save a part for you to tell everybody like where they can find you, like what you got coming up. Obviously, anybody going to the MSG and DC shows, like try to find my dude. Like I think that'd be pretty cool. So kind of let everybody know what's going on. Obviously, you got that recovery. You can wear tennis shoes again. So we're not too far away from some new content for sure.
Yeah, so for social media, you can find me at DannyDrumstixx on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And you can find me on Facebook as Danny Bullwan. That's BOLLWAHN. And I got a huge following on there too. And then anything that's coming up is just, yeah, it's just new content once I put some strength into my feet again, or my foot. But nothing interesting really after that. It's just playing more covers, and I'm gonna expand as well. Like I want to mess with some Dream Theater stuff, so I'm sure you'll enjoy that.
Absolutely.
But there's so much other Rush stuff that I want to cover, and that I'm sure people are waiting for me to put out as well. So until I can get 100% better, I'm doing a lot of these like guest these Rush songs from my previous
Yeah. Which it's a lot of
content.
fun. Like it
Oh
is a
yeah,
lot of fun. So
yeah, man. That's pretty much it. Other than just trying to stay healthy and get fit again. Yeah, you can
yeah,
find me
3
on
months off.
there, and but I'm mostly active on Instagram and Facebook, but I do post here and there on TikTok and YouTube.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll make sure to link you up in the description, which I've learned like most people aren't reading.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, man. It's either get something on that first line. That's it.
Like look at all this stuff down here. So, I'll,
Literally.
I'll take the couple moments. Like I know I talked about Stay Tuned Records. I know those guys. It's a local record shop. They had the tenant above them flooded a couple weeks ago. So now they're having to deal with that, destroy a lot of records. So
Oh my
I put
gosh.
all that in the comments and everything else. And it's like, I'm not sponsored by them. And I talked about this with them. I said, they're like, we're going to have to start sponsoring. I was like, no, no, no. I was like, I do this because, supporting tangible media. You talked about having all the CDs, the vinyl collection that I'm starting to amass rather quickly, and Dream Theater's re-releasing everything, it's on clear vinyl. And I'm like, you can kind of see it, but that's scenes from a memory that got signed by the band. So I got to hang it on the wall because it needs to be seen.
Right on, man. Definitely, definitely.
Jerseys for drummers, always going to give those guys a shout out. I was just talking to Joe the other day about getting us a new jersey for 2026. So super excited because, he made Portnoy's jerseys. He's done Mangini's. He's done so many other artists. And I'm like, just keep it going, man. Carter Beauford, Dave Matthews is on tour. It's killing me that I'm probably not going to make that show, but that's a whole nother thing. And then in September in Eustis, Florida, which is near the Villages, if that helps anybody, Florida Drum Fest. So 2026, just drum vendors. There's going to be so many other things. There's going to be other podcasts there. So I'm kind of excited to see who's going to be there, kind of see all these vendors and just that community of drummers. So I'm going to be there. It's Sunday, September 20th. So I'll put the details in there, but it's the first time I'll be out and about, kind of doing something for the podcast. So it's kind of a big deal for me too. So I'm really excited for that. And yeah, on behalf of myself and dad, man, Danny, it's been fun because dad found you first and then dad told me about you. And that's kind of like how this all,
Wow.
came together.
That's awesome, man.
Um,
Thanks for having me, really.
absolutely, man. And like I said, won't be the last time, but everybody else, I hope you had a good time and stay tuned. See if it does it.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the DrumQuig podcast. Thank you so much.